1989 U.S. Gymnastics Challenge continues now from Denver, Colorado. The first apparatus for the women is the vault. But before we get to our competitors, let's take a look at how they advanced to these finals. In round one, Brandy Johnson had 39.475. In the second round, she slipped a little, 39.250. Wendy Bruce slipped it also from the first round to the second round, 0.625 to 0.550. And Lisa Panzironi, her best score was in the first round, 39.625. So both ladies, or I should say all three ladies, had a little bit of trouble in the second round, in that possibly altitude is becoming a factor.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch them on their opening event here, vault, because this is the event where they're most evenly matched. They're all doing similar vaults, and we'll be able to compare them and hopefully note why one gets a higher score than the other.
Certainly it's easier to compare them when they are head-to-head against each other, but we are a mile above sea level. These gymnasts are not frequently asked to perform optionals again and again and again. Plus there's the concentration pressure and the television pressure, something that these ladies are not quite accustomed to just yet. This is the face of Wendy Bruce.
Springs, Florida. Please welcome Wendy Bruce.
Wendy Bruce is 16 years of age.
Her qualifying vault scores in both the first and the second round were 9.85. She's going to do a vault called a Yurchenko with a full in a laid-out position. Good start.
Wendy Bruce performing her first vault.
I'm sure her coach Kevin Brown was making sure she remembers to get a good block right here so that she can hang it up in the air.
9.8.
Her hands hit a little lightly on the pommel horse. You want to drill it back into the horse a little bit more so she can hang it up a little bit higher so she can land straight up and down and stick the landing rather than over-rotating as she did. But boy, in the air, perfect form, tight body line, nicely done.
9.825 is the score. We call it a Yurchenko, but if you break it down, it's really a round-off back handspring with a twist.
Right, back off with a twist. Here we go. Oh, that wasn't as good. She didn't quite have the rotation that she did on the first one, partly because her hands just barely touched the horse when she went over on the back handspring part. Let's see if we can see what happens here. She does the round off onto the board. Now watch her hand position as she goes to the horse. Right here, she's just on her fingertips. She didn't quite get a solid push. That left her a little short with the rotation.
Wendy, by the way.
Once again, round off and back handspring. Very light push. Not the kind of block that she needed. Her first vault, of course, will be the better score.
The second vault got a 9.75. You're right, the first one will count. 9.825 for Wendy Bruce. Her teammate and opponent is Brandy Johnson.
Second vaulter, and here she is, 15-year-old Brandy Johnson.
Brandy was born in Tallahassee, currently lives in Altamont Springs, Florida.
Brandy's doing the same vault. There's few people in the world that do it this well.
You're not kidding.
I've seen her do it better, but still, that was pretty incredible. It's the Yurchenko with a full, laid out. Notice her hand position when she goes onto the horse. She drills into the horse a little bit, and her arms are pretty bent when she hits the horse right there. I've seen her do it with a little straighter arms in a more efficient blocking position. Boy, but great form, perfect toe point, legs together, and a good landing.
9.9, the score for the first vault.
Isn't that amazing? It's a 9.9, and yet we've seen her do it better.
Now ready for vault number 2.
Well, she said in her interview she'd like to get a 10. Maybe we'll see it here.
This is the place where she can do it. The technique is perfect. It's just a matter of whether she can stick it. She was really fighting that landing. She had a couple of little steps, but that was a much better position on the block. You'll notice that she had straighter arm position when she reached to the horse.
And the score.
Note the arms when she actually makes contact with the horse. A little bit straighter than they were on the first vault. She didn't quite have the air time that she normally has, though, and that, of course, didn't allow her to stick it. But this was technically so perfect. Look at the form. Notice the toe point in the air. That's hard stuff to do.
Well, they only took off for the few steps because this vault, too, was scored as a 9.9. Either one will count. 9.9 for Brandy Johnson. Again, Wendy Bruce received a 9.825. And now it is time for Lisa Panzironi to vault. We spoke with her earlier and asked her about the impact that gymnastics has had on her life. She's very young, yet it has taken her all around the world.
We're going to have a thing coming up.
Well, I think I've had a lot more experience, like maturing-wise, because I lived away from home for a year, so that helped. And going to different countries and seeing different cultures and stuff, it's been a totally different experience from a regular 16-year-old who just goes to school and does sports in school and stuff like that.
12 years in gymnastics.
Lisa Panzironi has been to Spain, England, Canada, and many points in between.
Lisa's going to attempt the same vault that we saw the other two gymnasts do. Let's see if we can compare. In one category, she was better than the other two. She had more distance from the horse. The judges are looking for good, clean form, good, tight pre-flight position, good height, and distance from the horse. Notice she does a good job here, good block. She really carries back away from the horse. Takes one small step on the landing.
We could see a difference, though, in the form. Just comparing it to Brandy Johnson's. Her legs are a little bit apart, toes aren't quite as pointed.
Right, she had just a minor form deduction. She had to grab her legs there to pull the rotation around.
And the score for the first vault was 9.75.
Good landing, although the pre-flight wasn't the way she wanted it. She did a nice job at compensating and sticking the landing. You'll notice on this one, when she reaches back to the horse, her arms are quite bent. But she does a good job. Notice right there, she's in pretty deep, but she really pushes and pulls this one out.
The score for the second vault was 9.625. The first vault is the one that will carry 9.75. Brandy Johnson's our leader with a 9.9. Wendy Bruce is second with 9.825. We'll be back with the uneven parallel bars for the women in just a moment.